Did you know? Your iPhone can be hacked with a laser pointer. Humans are capable of producing venom, and in America, there is a day, which is the busiest one for animal shelters. We'll have you rethinking everything you thought you knew for sure. Welcome to another episode of 30 Weird Fun Facts. Subscribe our channel for unlimited fun. So, without wasting any more time, let's get started with Number 1. Mosquitoes are attracted to people who just ate bananas. Mosquitoes like the potassium, salt, and lactic acid released from your body, so if you're going heavy on the bananas or dried fruit, you're making yourself all the more delectable to a passing mosquito. Lotions and creams with alpha hydroxy are also high in lactic acid. It's best to avoid these products if you're going to be spending time outdoors. Number 2. The Luftwaffe had a master interrogator, Hans Scharf, whose tactic was being as nice as possible. Scharf's best tactics for getting information out of prisoners included nature walks without guards present, baking them homemade food, cracking jokes, drinking beers, and afternoon tea with German fighter aces. His techniques were so successful that the US military later incorporated his methods into their own interrogation schools. Number 3. Olympic medalist with large mustache. Olympic medalist Mark Spitz was famed for his large mustache in an era when swimmers shaved their bodies to become more hydrodynamic. He once joked to the Russian team's coach that his mustache helped him swim faster by deflecting water from his mouth and making him more bullet-shaped. The following year, a mustache was spotted by every member of the male Russian team. Number 4. Bald head or a rock. Greek playwright Aeschylus was killed in 455 BC when an eagle, mistaking his bald head for a rock, dropped a tortoise on it. According to Pliny, Aeschylus was spending a lot of time in the open to avoid a prophecy that he would be killed by a falling object. Number 5. Mayoral ballot prank went wrong. In 1887, a group of men added Susanna Medora Salter of Argonia, Kansas, to a mayoral ballot as a prank intended to embarrass and curtail the influence of the Women's Christian Temperance Union, of which she was an officer. Instead, she won over 60% of the vote and became America's first female mayor. Number 6. A hump is a camel's energy storage. The camel's hump is where the camel stores fat. Camels use this fat for energy when and where food is hard to find. People who buy and sell camels even use the size of the camel's hump to determine how healthy the camel is. The bigger the hump, the healthier the camel. A well-fed camel's hump won't droop or look deflated. Hump also helps the camel to regulate its own body temperature. Number 7. A one-day weather forecast requires about 10 billion math calculations. These calculations are done by supercomputers, dutifully processing 2.8 quadrillion mathematical calculations per second and collecting thousands of earthly observations every day, including air pressure, water levels, temperature, humidity, and wind speed, around the clock. These computers, each about the size of a school bus, are the nucleus of weather and climate forecasting in the United States. These computers plug the observations into a series of mathematical algorithms that signifies the atmosphere's physical properties and predict the global weather. Number 8. Banks have therapists known as wealth psychologists. These psychologists help clients who are unable to mentally cope with their immense wealth. Wealth psychologists are also called money psychologists or wealth counselors. Wealth psychologists help their ultra-rich clients deal with issues such as the guilt they feel about being wealthy, or advise on inheritance issues, and counsel parents on how to raise children who are not spoiled by money. Number 9. During World War II, Germany planned to collapse the British economy. The economy became a battlefield in World War II when the Nazis launched Operation Bernhard, the biggest counterfeiting effort in history. Plan was to collapse the British economy by dropping millions of counterfeit bills over London. Beginning late 1943, Germany printed nearly 1 million counterfeit notes per month. These artifacts of the Nazi counterfeiting effort are incredibly rare. The Pound 10 printing plate is the only one known to have survived, recovered from Austria's Lake Toplitz years after the Germans sank their printing equipment, and remaining notes in 1945. Number 10. A study from Harvard University finds that having no friends can be just as deadly as smoking. Having no friends could be as deadly as smoking, researchers at Harvard University have suggested. after discovering a link between loneliness and the levels of fibrinogen, a blood-clotting protein, which can cause heart attacks and stroke. Researchers compared levels of the blood-clotting protein with the numbers of friends and family in a person's social network and found a striking correlation. As the number of social connections fell, the level of fibrinogen rose. Number 11. You are more likely to have a weird or scary dream when sleeping on your stomach. This is because different sleeping positions give different pressure on your body. Sleeping on your stomach restricts other movements compared to sleeping on your side or back. Research believes that this may be why the intensity of your dreams differentiates depending on your sleeping position. Number 12. Apple is for good guys only. If you ever see someone using an iPhone in a movie, they are not one of the bad guys. Apple requires as a condition of licensing their products for use in film TV that only protagonists are allowed to operate them on camera. So, if a character is using an iPad in a horror movie, they will not end up secretly being the killer. Number 13. Soldier separated from his unit. There was a Finnish soldier named Aimo Koivunen who got separated from his unit. He had no food or weapons, and to avoid dying, took enough methamphetamine for 30 men. During his insane drug binge, he skied about 250 miles, passed over a landmine, and survived, and caught and ate a bird raw. That's just a few details. We recommend actually reading about this absolute legend yourself, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. Number 14. Toilet paper in France is generally pink. What is usually found in our homes as a stark white is a lively pink for the French. Pink toilet paper is commonly found in the bathrooms and kitchens of France as a regional preference. In the 1950s, colored toilet paper was also the rave in the US, however. Health and safety concerns over the dye caused it to be discontinued in the early 2000s. Number 15. 4 out of the 10 largest statues in the world are of Buddhas. Out of the 130 largest statues in the world, China has the most at 35 statues. This is followed by India at 25 statues. It's no surprise that a chunk of these 130 statues depict Buddha, who originated from India and one of the main religions in China. The Spring Temple Buddha in the Lushan County of Henan, China, stands at 420 feet and is the second largest statue in the whole world. Number 16. The people who are currently alive are only 7% of the total number of people who have ever lived. One of the fun facts that'll make you realize how long humans have been around. According to the Population Reference Bureau, over 108 billion people have ever been born. At 7.5 billion, that's only a meager 7% of the people who have ever lived. Number 17. The world's termites outweigh the world's humans about 10 to 1. Termites outweigh us 10 to 1. For every 60 kilograms human you, according to the termite expert David Bignell, there are 600 kilograms of them. They are our underappreciated underlords, key players in a vast planetary conspiracy of disassembly and decay. If termites, ants, and bees were to go on strike, the tropics' pyramid of interdependence would collapse into infertility, the world's most important rivers would silt up, and the oceans would become toxic. Game over. Number 18. A filmmaker once created a 10-hour film of paint drying, one of the pettiest yet wittiest fun facts. To protest high tariffs, filmmaker Charlie Line submitted a 10-hour movie of drying white paint to the British Board of Film Classification, BBFC. The board had to watch paint drying in its entirety, all 10 hours and 7 minutes of it. Number 19. Hundreds of rare animals and plants thrive in the North Korea-South Korea border. The Korean Demilitarized Zone is 155 miles of untouched land that separates North and South Korea. In these heavily fortified fences, several endangered animal and plant species thrive. Ecologists identified around 2,900 plant species, 70 mammal species, and 320 bird species in this narrow buffer zone. Number 20. A raisin dropped in fresh champagne will keep bouncing up and down from the bottom to the top of the glass. When you add raisins to a glass of champagne, they'll sink to the bottom at first. However, after some time, the raisins will move up and down in the glass dancing. This motion is due to dissolved carbon dioxide in the liquid. The CO2 bubbles cling to the surface of the raisins. Thus, the raisin method is used to revive flat champagne as well. Number 21. A pound of houseflies contains more protein than a pound of beef. Another little known fact, or maybe just one we don't want to acknowledge, about insects is that they are a very rich protein source. Single fly typically contains about 4 to 5 milligrams of protein. Keep in mind that this can vary slightly depending on the species of fly. So much so that sustainability advocates are calling for insects as a meat substitute. Number 22. February used to be the last month of the year. We may know January and February as the first 2 months of the year, but these months were actually the last couple of months added to the Gregorian calendar. Before, the Roman calendar only recognized 10 months. However, the winter period was measured in these 2 months, making February the last month of the calendar. This is also why February has the shortest number of days in a month. Number 23. Squeaky floors were the best home security in 17th century Japan. You'd expect Japanese feudal lords to live in pristine houses with the sturdiest materials, and that is mostly true, save for their squeaky, creaky floors. Nightingale floors were flooring systems that chirped when somebody walked on it. They were installed in temples and palaces to alert of intruders. The floors were built in a way that the flooring nails rub against jackets or clamps, causing squeaking noises. Number 24. Humans are capable of producing venom. Believe it or not, while humans do not currently produce venom, technically, we could. In fact, all reptiles and mammals have that capability, according to an article published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Basically, we have all the tools we need, and it's up to evolution to get us there. Number 25. Rats laugh when they're tickled. These creatures are more dynamic than we think. Rats have the ability to laugh when tickled. Rats have what appears to be a laugh center in their midbrain that is activated when the animals are tickled or when they engage in play behaviors. Researchers first discovered that rats could laugh in 2016 after they found tickling the rodents on their belly and back sent them into fits of squeaky giggles. Number 26. Your iPhone can be hacked with a laser pointer. Devices with virtual assistants like Siri respond to light waves the same way they do to sound waves, the study found. By pointing a laser beam at the microphone, the researchers could trick a device into accepting commands as though it had heard a verbal cue. It's just like speaking over a light beam, in such a way that the microphone can hear it. But of course your ears cannot, says Randy Pargman, Senior Director for Binary Defense, a cybersecurity company. After spending 7 months testing the hack on devices enabled with Google Home, Amazon's Alexa, and Apple's Siri, the researchers discovered that they could transmit light commands from hundreds of feet away, with items ranging from $14 laser pointers to flashlights. Number 27. The human stomach can dissolve razor blades. If you ever swallow a razor blade, don't panic. The human body is more capable than you think. Acids are ranked on a scale from 0 to 14. The lower the pH level, the stronger the acid. Human stomach acid is typically 1.0 to 2.0. Meaning that it has an incredibly strong pH. In a study published in the journal Gastrointestinal Endoscopy, scientists found that the thickened back of a single-edged blade dissolved after 2 hours of immersion in stomach acid. Number 28. Did you know? There is a sweet spot on a baseball bat. As with most sports, precision is vital to success, which is undoubtedly relevant in baseball. It is said that a baseball bat has a sweet spot located between 5 to 7 inches from the barrel end of the bat. This zone is known as the sweet spot because you are likelier to score a home run when you hit the ball from here. You'll know when you hit a baseball with the sweet spot as it creates a beautifully crisp, cracking sound. Number 29. Busiest day for animal shelters. A vast majority of strays that end up in shelters are pets who are lost simply because they don't have any identification. Additionally, 4th of July is the busiest time for animal shelters, as most pets get lost during that holiday due to being scared of loud fireworks and running away. Number 30. Difficult to train breed. The Akita tops the list as one of the most difficult breeds to train because of their strong will, stubborn nature, and the fact they were bred to hunt big game such as elk and bears. Other notoriously hard-to-train dogs are the Chow Chow, Shar Pei, Alaskan Malamute, and Rottweiler. All working dogs were more or less bred to make their own decisions and think independently. A great trait when you have to trust them with making decisions, but when you need them to be obedient, it's a whole other story. That's all for today. Subscribe to our channel for more fun videos.